Welcome back to Near Mint Condition, where we talk about how we get older.
And our characters stay the same age. Man, that sounded a lot cooler when McConaughey said it.
Anyways, we're going to talk about our heroes, comics from when we were little to now and how they've changed.
And how many times can you reboot a universe?
Several.
None. You shouldn't. Ever. So, talking about comic book movies got me thinking about, like, the state of comic books now and how much things have changed within comic books. But have they really?
Yes,
Well, you
they
can
are
say, like,
dollars now.
Well, besides the price range, have comic books really changed, or are they just redoing the same stories over and over? Like, I came, and the reason I asked that is because I came across, like, I joined a forum about 10 years ago. It's guys that do the collecting forums, like, these collections, right? And there are guys that are like, my collections stop in 1984. Because to me, that ends my time of comic books. That's where I stop.
That's not you. That's
like
no,
the generation
that's
before.
yeah, that's what people say, and I'm like, no, there were some wonderful stories in the late '80s and early '90s to me, and then I stuck through the '90s, I stuck through the aughts, and I stuck. But I think to me, and now I finally understand that. I think to me now, like, it feels like every 7 years we're being told the same story over and over. Like recently, Marvel had Secret Wars, where, you know, it was kind of a continuation, but not really, of the Beyonder story from the original Secret Wars miniseries or maxi series. And I was like, what's the point? What's the point of revamping the universe besides ending the Ultimate Universe to make them combine with the Marvel Universe? And, you know, it's the same story of Thor's dead, Professor X is dead. It's like there's nothing new to me.
Does this have any correlation to, like, wanting the comics to, now that the movies are very successful and commenters who don't read comics anymore? I haven't read comics since, like, the 90s. So now I'm watching these movies and I'm like,
They're kind of trying to restart.
Well,
yes, yeah.
I would
like,
think that, but like, really, like, Wolverine's dead. So now X-23 is the new Wolverine. You know, so she's female. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to read the comic book as somebody that went to go watch Wolverine, right? He's fucking dead. He's trapped in adamantium. Really?
It's the same as Jean Grey always
The
died,
Fantastic Four's
she's
book
not really dead.
was canceled just prior to the last movie
The
coming out.
world's greatest magazine.
Fantastic Four, I love the Fantastic Four.
There is no Fantastic Four book, unless there is, because frankly,
No, they are stuck as gods.
So
you know,
the
like,
New 52
they're
is still around, right? There's still a New 52, right?
Well, no, they're revamping that too.
Yeah.
They're revamping that
I
with
think they're-
Rebirth, or what is it? Yeah, it's called Rebirth now. But they're not starting over. And even part of New 52 was different because it was like, oh, we're going to keep these elements of Batman, right? We're going to... Nightfall happened, No Man's Land happened, all this happened. But there was never a third Robin. Tim Drake was never Robin. Tim Drake went on to become Red Robin. So it's really weird.
Delicious
It's like, if you're going to revamp a universe because of Flashpoint, right? You might as well just revamp everything. You can't just say Superman did die, but previously there was never a Wonder Woman. Previously,
Okay. But I think the problem that you're talking about gets to the question of these companies have these
IP.
this IP that they've
Right.
got to keep fresh, or at least got to keep producing new stories. And we're to the point now, I mean, these characters
have been around
are,
for a long,
you know,
long
80,
time now.
you know, 70, 60, 70, 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You can only tell so many Captain America stories. You
So
can
many
only
origin
tell-
stories, that's true.
And, I mean, people have been saying since the 70s how hard it is to tell a Superman story.
I feel the same way about characters like Iron Man and characters like, man, even Spider-Man to an extent.
Well, and we've been saying this for a very long time. You know, just in talks we've had before. Sandman is my favorite example of a book that told the stories that it wanted to tell, and then it's done. 80 issues or however many it was.
That's also the difference between a creator-owned. That's why I usually follow like Image or Dark
corporation.
Horse
But
or
Sandman was
Dynamite.
creator-owned.
Come on, let's call it what it is. It wasn't creator-owned for the first 10 issues when he was forced to use DC characters. but it was definitely creator-owned towards the end. You can't use Morpheus or Daniel without the permission of Neil Gaiman.
But he doesn't own those characters.
Doesn't matter. You still, when they used him in JLA, they had to get a written permission from Neil Gaiman for them to use Sandman or JSA.
Gosh,
as well.
I wish we'd looked this up ahead of time so we could know for sure. But and you know,
Actually, Mike Jones owns these rights.
in talking
I
about
will
this
crack
before,
that book upside your fucking head.
you compared it to manga a lot of time. You know where
Oh, how I prefer manga because it is the author, usually the
It's
author
the
and
author,
artist,
the writer.
and it's their story. And
Yeah.
once he decides, like, fuck it, you know what? Luffy and gang, they're done shipping. They're done. They fucking found the One Piece. I'm out. Peace out.
The One Piece is just a big.
75% done.
It's
Or
just a-
Naruto, right? Naruto, the guy was like, fuck it.
Hold
No
on.
more ninja stories. I'm out.
Naruto.
He
Naruto.
kind of come back because people wanted it so much. And
Okay.
Boruto.
then he ended. He was like,
Boruto.
all right, guys, this is it.
This
I'm
is it.
serious.
Well,
This
oh
is
my
it."
goddess. Oh my goddess ended. Berserk. When the Miura decides to end it, it will be over.
I'm okay with like serial things like ending. Actually, I would prefer.
But you can never
a
end the
finite
story
thing.
of Superman, like he was saying. You can never end the story of Batman
And the
because
reason-
But I
there
think,
will always.
I think there's a market for it because people, like when I got into it, it was like the early 90s and the animation came out and stuff like that. There's a whole new generation, so they have sort of essential way of we need to revisit this. We need to restart this timeline. And comics now versus 20 years ago, they are different. They've made them darker. They've made backstories, which I think they're kind of overdoing that right now.
Is that a good thing? I think everything is so dark and gritty. Give me something lighthearted, like Teen Freaking Titans or something. I like to read and be happy.
You mean
when I
Teen
read.
Titans Go?
I mean,
Yes, actually, I do mean
You
Teen
mean
Titans.
like Excalibur with, the lightheartedness, where it was like almost a joke comic.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
The books that I still read are the light and funny books. Hawkeye is a good example. The Hawkeye. I mean,
Matt
it wasn't always
Fraction's run
funny,
or
but
Jeff
it was
Lemire?
always. It was always funny. It might have been dark, but it was funny while it was being dark.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's my question.
That's why
So-
people like Deadpool.
Sure,
Because Deadpool is a serial fucking killer and psycho, but he also, breaks the fourth wall.
Well, here's my question. So, do you think it is necessary? And I'm not saying from a business standpoint. I'm just kind of saying from a public expectations, what you would think would be the right thing. Do you think it's necessary for DC to even keep publishing Superman and Batman books, or can we just tell their stories in movies now?
They sell. Batman's still one of the #1 best-selling books. It outsells Deadpool. That's the
Okay.
thing, though. So
Yeah.
people still buy them. Collectors still buy them.
But
Well, we need
outselling compared to so they make tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit versus these movies that make millions of dollars of profit.
But that's a
That's a
medium
movie
that you're gonna break. You can't just end a comic book because you're like, hey, we're making movies now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we're making an animated TV
Movies
show.
will end.
We're making a lot more money.
People will get tired of so many Batman
And
movies.
you know
Like,
what?
there's
I'm
no-
actually surprised that they haven't been burned out on movies. Like, I really thought when all the mutant movies, when all the superhero movies, when Hellboy and all that stuff coming out, people were gonna be like, you know what? That's enough.
We're done.
That almost
See,
happened
I-
with me with Spider-Man. So, like, the original three...
Now there's a third
Spi-
reboot.
yeah, the original 2 Spider-Man by Sony, I loved Spider-Man 1, and I thought Spider-Man 2 was, phenomenal. People didn't like Spider-Man movies, but loved this movie, right? And then Spider-Man 3, and then there was a reboot. And I went back into my library of Blu-ray movies, and I was like, I think I have Spider-Man. Are they really rebooting this? And then they're going to do it again, right? There's
So the reason they're redoing it is because now they're co-doing it with Marvel.
Would it have been better if when
I
the
wanna talk about
Ultimate
that in a
Universe started, the Marvel Universe had stopped? They just said, we're not publishing this universe anymore. You can continue their stories yourselves if you want, but you know what? We're starting over from ground zero, and we are literally starting over from ground zero. We are
You mean
reintroducing
like
all
after
these
Crisis
characters.
on Infinite Earths kind
No,
of style?
well, Crisis still.
You had Year One. That
Yeah.
literally was reintroduction of Batman. You had Man of Steel. That was the reintroduction, and you had George Perez's Wonder Woman.
I guess you're right.
That was
I
a
guess
reintroduction
is
of the
true.
characters.
I guess
They didn't do that with Marvel. Marvel was like, hey, old man Logan is now hanging out with Storm and kids, and Iceman is gay. Because Bendis said so. It's just, it's, don't get me fucking started on that bullshit. Like, I don't mind.
You mean Bendis?
No. The bullshit
The
of
original Iceman. It's not gay, but this Iceman.
no.
he's
The
gay.
original Iceman is now gay because he thought, you know what, young me is gay. I must be gay.
That doesn't make
and
sense.
that to me is like, God damn it, Bendis. Bendis is one of my least favorite writers. Despite of how people fucking feel about Jessica Jones and his run on Daredevil, I can't stomach him. But that's another
Love Jessica
topic.
Jones. Love Daredevil.
So to bring it back to the comics, yeah, I mean,
You have to
comic
watch
books
how
are-
you treat these characters.
and it is very difficult to please everybody too. You can't just have like the X-Men keep running around and be in fear of like
Sparks and shit.
that's all I got.
Thanks for watching today's Near Mint Condition. If you like, subscribe, comment. Who are your favorite heroes? Tell us about them. We want to know. And by the way, Hell Hydra.
One of my favorite stories is motherfucking Endgame. It's not called motherfucking Endgame, but it's Claremont's Endgame.
Chris Claremont's motherfucking Endgame.
Which wallet is yours?